Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Memorial Day weekend and so many people are getting together and having fun family gatherings and celebrations. I thought I would share with you some things that I love to bring when we're having a family cookout. When I think of Memorial Day, I always think of hamburgers and hot dogs. Now you can take the easy way out and just get this bag of burgers, a 12 count at great value. It's a pretty good deal. And of course you got to have all the fixings, the buns, the cheese, the lettuce, the tomato. You can serve this with fries, but I'm going to share with you my favorite burger recipe and some potato salad.
I'm going to be taking these potatoes and my eggs and cooking them at the same time in my Instant Pot. I'm dicing them up into a small bite-sized piece because I'm only going to be cooking them in the Instant Pot for 5 minutes. Once I had all those potatoes diced up, I just put those into my Instant Pot. And I'm going to add in a cup of water. That's just enough liquid to help this bring up to pressure. And then I'm going to take the little trivet, I think that's what they call it, that came with my Instant Pot. I'm going to put that on top of my potatoes, and then I'm going to put my eggs right on top of that trivet. I think I'm going to use about 5 eggs. You can use as many or as little as you like. Or if you don't want eggs in your potato salad, you don't have to do that at all. Then I just put the lid on my Instant Pot, make sure the knob is on sealing, and then I'm going to set the time to 5 minutes. I'm going to be making this like I do my hard-boiled eggs, which is a 5-5-5 method. So after the 5 minutes is up on the pressurized cooking, I let my Instant Pot do a natural release for an additional 5 minutes. Once that 5 minutes of natural release is done, I'm going to be removing my eggs and putting them into an ice bath for another 5 minutes. So that's the 5-5-5. If you are interested in an Instant Pot, mine I got a great deal on Amazon. I'll leave that link below. If you're interested in checking on that. So here are my potatoes that I got out of the Instant Pot. My eggs are in their ice bath. I have this little bit of a yellow onion that I'm going to dice up and add to my potato salad. And then once I have got that onion in there, it should be about time to get those eggs peeled. So here are my peeled eggs. Only one of them broke when I was peeling them. But as you can see as I cut into this egg, that 5-5-5 method makes a beautiful hard-boiled egg. There's none of that gray circle around the yolk. It's just really beautiful. It works well every time, and they're really easy to peel. So I added all of my chopped eggs to the potato salad, and now we're going to get ready to dress the salad. I'm going to start with seasoning it with some kosher salt. I do a couple pinches of that, and then I'm going to add in some black pepper. The next thing that I add to my potato salad is a few scoops of dill relish. I have had potato salad with the sweet relish before. I prefer dill. And then we're going to add in some mayo. And if you are from the South, you know there's only one mayo, and that is Duke's. So I'm going to add just a few scoops of that. This I really kind of just eyeball, and I'm just looking for the texture that I like my potato salad and the level of creaminess. So I just add a few spoonfuls, and then we'll kind of come back to the mayo after I start mixing this. And then I add in just some yellow mustard, and I just do a little dollop of that, and then we'll get to stirring and tasting. And then I just give this a stir. I try to stir really gently because I don't want to mash up my potatoes, but I just give this a stir, and I kind of just eyeball it and see, does it look as creamy as I want it to be? And I actually hit it right on the money this time. I didn't feel like I needed to add in any more mayo, and the salt and pepper taste was on point. So I just covered this and put it in my fridge so that it could chill while I start making the burgers. So I took a package of my ground beef, and this is how I'm going to make my burgers. I just take the ground beef, I put it into a bowl, and I like to add a little bit of flavorings or seasonings. You could add, there's so many burger recipes, but this is just a basic one. I always use some Worcestershire sauce, if I'm saying that right, when I'm using ground beef. I'm also going to use some of this steak seasoning. I got this at Aldi, and this was the first time I was using it. But the burgers actually turned out really good. It has a nice flavor. It's got garlic, onion powder, paprika, things like that in there. And so then I just get in there with my hands. I always kind of mix it with just one hand, so that keeps another hand free and clean. And so then I'm going to add in some kosher salt and some pepper. And then I'm going to be ready to section this off and make my patties. So I give this another little mix. And then I'm going to be using this kind of the way that I've always seen Rachel Ray do her burgers. She gets it all mixed together, and then she scores it with her hand so that she knows that each patty is going to be about the same size when she pulls the beef. So here I have scored it into fourths, and I'm just going to kind of roll out one big meatball and then squish it out into a patty. And then we're going to get these on the stove. I like to cook mine in a cast iron skillet. So I got that heating up on the stove. So I just added those patties to my cast iron skillet, and I cooked them for a few minutes on each side. Next, I'm going to prepare my garnish or my toppings for my burger. I took one of my tomatoes and I sliced that up. I'm going to slice up a little bit of this red onion, and then I'm going to tear a few leaves from my iceberg lettuce. And that's going to be the toppings for our burgers. And so now I have the toppings ready. The burgers are coming off the stove. The potato salad is chilled in the fridge. And we are ready to plate this up.
These burgers were delicious, and the potato salad is amazing. So now let's move on to our hot dogs. And we're going to be making some homemade coleslaw.
I'm just going to take my cabbage, already washed the cabbage and taking off the outer leaves. I'm just going to shred that up into my bowl. Next, I'm going to be adding in a big scoop of sugar. I don't measure, I kind of just eyeball it. But I take some sugar, I add that to my bowl. Then I'm going to be adding in some salt and some pepper. I do that to taste. And then I'm going to be using some vinegar. Now, normally I use white vinegar, but I was out of white vinegar. So I decided to use this red wine vinegar, and I just added a few splashes of that in. Y'all, I was skeptical at first, but this really added a great flavor to this coleslaw. So next, I'm just going to be adding in a couple scoops of my Duke's mayonnaise because, guys, if you're from the South, you know Duke's mayonnaise is the only mayonnaise. So I add in a few scoops, and then I'm going to give this a good stir. Always remember that you need to taste. Coleslaw is one of those things that I have to taste every time. I have to taste to make sure the vinegar is right, the mayo is right, the sugar is right, and the salt and pepper is right. So I give this a good stir, I give it a taste, and y'all, this tasted amazing. Again, just like the hamburgers, hot dogs with coleslaw and onions, you can't go wrong.
Another dish that I love to take to a cookout is baked beans. So I have about a half of a red pepper, half of a green pepper, and half of an onion sauteing here in my cast iron skillet. This is my large cast iron skillet. I'm going to be browning up with that as well, half a pound of ground beef. Once that meat has browned, I'm going to go ahead and add in 2 cans of pork and beans. You can use whatever flavor baked beans, canned beans that you want. I'm using the pork and beans in this particular recipe. So I've got this in my cast iron skillet all mixed up. I am going to be adding about half of this bottle of barbecue sauce. You can use whichever barbecue sauce that you enjoy or have on hand. And this fills up my cast iron skillet. I'm going to bake it for about 40 minutes at 350 degrees. And this is what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. So yummy. The last recipe that I'm going to share with you today is a poke cake. So I have a white cake mix here that I'm going to be making according to package directions. When you make a white cake mix, you want to make sure and only use the egg whites. That way the cake does not turn yellow. So I'm just going to go ahead and make up this cake according to directions and get the cake in the oven.
So like it says to take the back of a wooden spoon, but look, mine are square and flat like that. So I'm not gonna use that. I'm just gonna use this big old straw that I've got. So I'm just gonna go through and poke holes like this into my cake, just like that. Now I'm gonna sit this to the side because I need to make my Jell-O mixture. I got strawberry. So I'm gonna make this Jell-O up according to package directions. Okay, I'm gonna pour in 1 cup of boiling water. Give this a stir. Let that sugar dissolve. Give that another stir. We're gonna pour our Jell-O mixture. I'm gonna cover this and put it in the fridge for 2 hours. Here's our poke cake after 2 hours in the fridge. It looks more pink than red, but that's okay. That's okay, it's fine. So we're gonna take this whole container of Cool Whip and put on top. Smooth it out. Now we're gonna take our red sprinkles and our blue sprinkles. I think this turned out so pretty and looks kind of like fireworks on top. That's a 9 by 13. That's a lot of dessert.
I hope that you got some ideas from this video. I hope that you are having a fun time this weekend celebrating. And as always, until the next video, bye. Happy Memorial Day!